Hey guys, gonna do a top 5 horror list for you. Here we go. I got my top 5 foreign horror films coming to you, but first, a few honorable mentions. Alright, so the first film I'd like to mention is The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Next to honorable mention is Nosferatu. I'm combining both the original and the Werner Herzog one. Our next honorable mention is Hausu, the 1977 absolutely insane movie. My next honorable mention was 2 films that I wanted to put on here, but I'm not sure I can quite call them horror, so I want to mention them anyway, and that's Solaris and Stalker, both Andrei Tarkovsky films. Absolutely fantastic. The filmmaking is top-notch, and it dives into a little bit different kind of horror, whether it's the environmental horror or just pure psychological terror and stuff. Definitely suggest both of those films. And the last honorable mention is Eyes Without a Face, another crazy film. It's still disturbing to this day, even almost 60 years later. I highly suggest that one if you want a crazy film that's still disturbing. Alright, time for the top 5 foreign horror films. Coming in at number 5, Kwaidan, a Japanese horror anthology film that dives into multiple ghost stories, because Kwaidan is Japanese for ghost, and you get all these different perspectives, and some of them I highly suggest the whole thing. Some are even more disturbing than others, but each story is great. I highly suggest it. It's got some disturbing moments, and the cinematography is really great. I really suggest this one. Coming in at number 4 is Cannibal Holocaust, a film that is probably one of the most controversial films ever made. What can I say about Cannibal Holocaust? Oh my goodness. I do not condone animal violence, but when we're talking about an effective horror film that's absolutely visceral and gets you on a whole level other than you're really used to, it's really hard to compare to this film. It has a lot of intense moments, and because of the real violence that takes place, other violence in this feels so much more real, and it's probably one of the most realistic horror films I've ever seen, and it is absolutely intense. One of the best scores you will find around, in my opinion, and every aspect of the film is just about flawless. I think Cannibal Holocaust is an incredibly well-made horror film, and if you want to be terrified or disturbed or any of those aspects of horror, hard to not go with Cannibal Holocaust. I highly suggest it. Number 3, I'm cheating here. I'm going to go with Lucio Fulci, and what I mean by this is I'm going to pick 2 of his films. I could not choose one over the other. It was so hard. I love both of these movies pretty much equally, and that's The Beyond and Zombie, or Zombie 2, or Zombie Flesh Eaters, depending on where you're from. But Zombie and The Beyond are fantastic. The Beyond's way more out there. If you're looking for a really surreal horror film that's kind of impossible to describe, I highly suggest The Beyond. And then Zombie has one of the most interesting kind of concepts. It's one of the few zombie films to actually tackle the voodoo side and go to an island, and the shark fights a zombie, and the gore is crazy, and the end sequence with the flaming bottles and everything, taking on zombies. I mean, it's just so cool. And I mean, the last shot in the movie, I can't ruin it. Just go see the Beyond and Zombie. They're crazy. So we'll warn you, they are very messed up. All right. Boo! At number 2, Hour of the Wolf. This is an absolutely crazy Ingmar Bergman film that really will test your mental stability. If you are a fan of The Shining, I can't suggest this film enough. It's an incredible double feature. Trust me, do this and The Shining. But Hour of the Wolf, it's just so absolutely captivating because I think the acting is on a whole other level than so many horror movies can really get. And Liv Ullmann has perhaps one of the greatest performances ever in a horror film. She's so real in her portrayal of all this shit going down and how she's handling it. It's really, really awesome to see just such a crazy, surreal horror film that has questions and answers, but not all the questions line up with all the answers. Not all the answers have questions. So I think it's a really crazy film, and if you really want to get more of a, I don't want to call it a think piece, but you know, a think piece of like crazy horror, highly suggest Hour of the Wolf. And coming in at number 1, gonna cheat again, Dario Argento. I could not pick one Dario Argento film, so I'm kind of doing it as Suspiria and Deep Red. I cannot pick between the two of them, but Dario Argento is one of my favorite directors, and he's my favorite foreign horror director for sure. And Suspiria, hard to put into words how I feel about that movie, because it's just such a bond of such, like it's such an incredible movie, and it's hard to like separate me from that movie because the soundtrack, I mean, Goblin outdid themselves. The story is crazy. We got all kinds of crazy witches. Go see Suspiria, go see Deep Red. I will give a little bit behind Deep Red here, and that is Deep Red's kind of a murder mystery. It's a giallo, which is the Italian proto-slashers, where they're kind of that mix between a slasher and Hitchcock, where they've got the intense stuff, they got the gore and all, and they got the crazy kills, but they also have this mystery behind what's going on. Absolutely suggest Deep Red and Suspiria. Definitely check those out. Definitely check out every film on here. I highly suggest everything. I wish this was a top 10, and then we get all that. And I know I cheated a little bit here, but who cares? There's a whole bunch of movies for you. Definitely check these out. So guys, if you like this and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. So guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you in the next one.